Hey everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media, and it feels good to be sitting in front of the camera once again. So even when I take time off from work, I rarely take any time off from posting videos, but last week was the exception because it was absolutely insane last week. So I ended up dedicating the first half of the week rather, to shopping for a new vehicle. My lease was coming up and I needed something new, which, side note, I'm now a truck owner, which is ridiculous. Never thought I'd own a truck in my life, but here we are. And let me tell you, I don't know how I'll ever go back because it is amazing. I absolutely am obsessed with my new truck. I ended up getting a 23 Honda Ridgeline, the not a real truck, as people like to call it, but it's freaking phenomenal. I love it. But anyway, the second half of my week was dedicated to my daughter's birthday party, getting everything prepped for that here at the house. It was just insanity. My daughter started school for the first time on last Tuesday. Oh, that made me an emotional wreck. But that aside, I do have movies to talk about today. So it is a little bit later in the month of September now, but I do want to go back to the month of August and share with you guys all of the new items I picked up. So both new releases and just new movies I picked up along the way last month, just because of sales or anything else. So let's get into this. I have about 20 plus here to talk about today, so lots to get through. Before we do all that though, if you do have a quick second, go and hit that like button down below. That engagement really does help me out. But with that said, let's not waste any more time at all. Let's dive right in to my new release and just new pickups for the month of August. So just as I did last month, I'll start off by re-showcasing the Mill Creek Entertainment releases real fast. There is a whole video dedicated to them if you want to check that out. But first up, we have a couple of stand-up spotlights. We have Gary Owen and Angela Johnson Reyes. I've heard really good things about Gary Owen thanks to some comments, so thank you for that. But we have Doing What I Do and Breaking Out the Park from Gary Owen, and then The Homecoming Show and Mahalo and Goodnight from Angela Johnson Reyes. So those are two of the DVDs that they released this past month, and both are stand-up spotlights. Moving over to the Blu-ray side, they did a 6-movie collection. It's called the Music and Romance Collection. So there are 6 movies on here, of course. We have Shout, Captain Corelli's Mandolin, Connie and Carla, The Man Who Cried, The Caveman's Valentine with Samuel L. Jackson, and Madame Suzatska. I'm taking a guess on how you say that one. But yeah, you can see, I'll open it up. There are actually 3 Blu-rays, so one is double stacked, but there are 2 movies per Blu-ray disc, so 3 disc set there. And I just threw them on the ground, so give me 1 second. You can always tell when I've had an extended time where I haven't filmed because I'm clumsy, I can't talk, I have to do with like every take a million times. But anyway, the last one from Mill Creek is Nefarious. So this is a horror film that I believe has a religious tilt to it. Have not heard great things about it, but I will check this one out eventually, just haven't gotten around to it. This month has been insane. So anyway, this is Nefarious, and that is the last one from Mill Creek Entertainment. So now let's jump over to the DVDs, we'll do Blu-rays, and then I'll wrap up with the 4K releases. We're gonna start off with a super special one, at least to me, because I'm actually in this one, which is just ridiculous, but this is Collection Questions, which is really cool. So this was one that was done by a fellow blue tuber here. He has a huge Instagram following. I will link him down below, but the 4K King. And this is so cool because he gathered up just tons of blue tubers and asked them each a single question, and then you answered it, filming it, and you sent it in, and he put it together into this full-on physical media DVD release, which is so cool. So you can see the inside there, probably lots of familiar faces. There's Huck right there. I love Huck. So yeah, just awesome. Like such a cool thing. I was so honored to be asked to be a part of it. There's Ken over at Mid-Level Media, one of my favorites. So yeah, this is super cool. I've actually not watched this yet. I have to get around to it like ASAP, but yeah, so excited that I was in this. Cannot wait to check this one out. This is super cool. This is called Collection Questions. All right, so now let's talk some random Dollar Tree pickups. I happened to be there, so I was looking around and I saw these new ones that looked kind of interesting. So the first one here is called Cruel Peter. It says on the back here, true evil never dies. It looks like a very kind of traditional horror film. The young boy Peter is like a 13-year-old boy. He ends up getting like summoned from the grave mistakenly and ends up trying to haunt them and whatnot. So I mean, I'm sure it's going to be pretty standard, but I did read the reviews on Letterboxd and they were pretty decent for a Dollar Tree horror film. So I figured I would pick it up and give it a shot. This is Cruel Peter. This next Dollar Tree find is actually a documentary, and it just sounds fascinating. It's called Three Identical Strangers. And so I guess it's like these three kids that were separated at birth that just happened to like stumble onto each other, and turns out they're all like triplets. And so I have no idea. It looks like it's going to be really weird, and it might even have like I don't know, like some twist to it that makes it a little true crimey, maybe, possibly, potentially. I don't know. That's just kind of what I got from the back of the box here. But yeah, sounds really interesting. So I love documentaries, and I figured I definitely wanted to check this one out. This is called Three Identical Strangers. And the last of the DVDs is also from Dollar Tree, and it happens to be one that I watched streaming last year and I thought was pretty darn good. I think I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars, which is crazy, but this is called Ghost House. And you can see it does have the Walmart Select on the slipcover there. But yeah, this is actually a really enjoyable film. The cinematography on this is so much better than it has any right to be. Like, it's really well done. But the reason I watched this one in the first place is because it starred Scout Taylor Compton from Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. I love Scout Taylor Compton, and I thought she was excellent in this. This is just a really creepy story about these American tourists that go overseas and end up like getting involved in this like voodoo witch stuff that happens, and it's like really creepy and it's really well done. So I highly recommend this one if you find it, especially for $1.25. Like, you can't beat it. If you don't find it on DVD though, definitely stream it. I think it's definitely worth your time. Really fun movie. This is called Ghost House, and that's the last of the DVDs I found from Walmart, but I do have one Blu-ray I picked up there as well. Finding this Blu-ray at Dollar Tree the other day was super serendipitous because I just listened to a podcast that was about this story. So this is based on a true story. It's called Brian Banks. And the story is that this Brian Banks was in high school, and he was like recruited by all these schools. He was an excellent football player, was for sure going to play college at a big time school. I think like USC was one of his main recruits, and most likely would have gone pro if things went according to plan. Well, one day he ended up being accused of sexual assault. He was found guilty of this in a court of law, or actually, I'm sorry, he was not found guilty. He ended up pleading guilty because his lawyer said basically it was just the best way to go. He was young, like 17 or so years old when it happened. And so he listened to his lawyer, which frankly, he shouldn't have in this instance, because it turns out he was innocent. And he is later exonerated in this, and it ends up getting like a tryout at an NFL camp or multiple NFL camps. I don't think he ends up making the team or anything, but this is his story. And he goes on to be like an inspiration or a motivational speaker and things like that. So it's about a man whose life just gets completely destroyed, but then he goes on to make the best of what he's been given. And so, yeah, fascinating story. I absolutely butchered the true crime story, but check it out. The Generation Y, one of my favorite podcasts, they do an excellent job at telling his story. But I realized when I was listening to the podcast that there's a movie about him, and I added it to my cheap Blu-rays to find, and you don't get much cheaper than $1.25. So absolutely excited to check this one out. I've heard it's really well done. So yeah, happy to find Brian Banks on Blu-ray. So this next little stack of Blu-rays here are just like random Amazon pickups that I found for extremely cheap over the last month. For whatever reason, they were just on sale. So the first one here has been on my wish list for a long time. It dropped down to about $5. This is a a Michael Moore documentary called Roger and Me. And it is about, I don't know Roger's last name, I guess, but he is the General Motors chairman, Roger Smith. There he is. So he was the chairman for GM. And so I'm very intrigued to see this one. Obviously I'm a big Michael Moore fan, who I know is very divisive, but yeah, I've never seen this one. I believe this is his first one, if I'm not mistaken, or one of his first films. So yeah, intrigued to check out Roger and Me. Speaking of podcasts that I've listened to recently, I listened to one on Slenderman, so of course I had to pick up the Blu-ray because I've never seen the movie. So yeah, very creepy and awful true crime story, but the movie I've not heard great things about, but I imagine it'll be pretty creepy, so I'm excited to see it. And again, it was super cheap on Amazon recently, so I picked it up. This is Slenderman. Next up is another cheap one that I found, a remake. This is Fright Night. So I've actually never seen the original Fright Night, but I have seen this one with Anton Yelchin, and I really like this one. Colin Farrell in this as well. I had a great time with this. I think I watched it in Blu-ray 3D when I first saw it. This one, unfortunately, does not come with the Blu-ray 3D disc, but still, very excited to add this one to the collection. Didn't realize I didn't own it. So yeah, I like this one a lot, and for the price, it was like under $5, so I had to pick it up. This is Fright Night. This next movie I absolutely love. This is actually an upgrade for me from the DVD, but it's absolutely worth it because Green Room is fantastic. This is a Jeremy Saulnier film, and it is so good. Also did like Blue Ruin, which is another one I want to find on Blu-ray. I'll probably get the Region B release because the American release is out of print and very expensive, but would love to own that one. But yeah, just a really well done horror film. It's a this like band gets basically trapped into their the green room. Yeah, obviously the green room where they're playing, and they are trying to survive this crazy attack that goes on. Like, it's so nuts and bonkers. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I absolutely loved it when I saw it. So yeah, definitely recommend this one. This is Green Room. Another Blu-ray upgrade for me of a personal favorite, Jake Gyllenhaal, Enemy. This is such a bonkers movie, like so super weird. I don't even know if I fully understood what happened the first time I watched it, but absolutely one I wanted to upgrade and one that I wanted in the collection on Blu-ray. I will definitely be watching this one again, and it is an A24 release, by the way. But yeah, now I have the DVD that I can get rid of, but I love this movie. Such a good one, so strange and weird. You just gotta watch it. Don't even look up anything on it, just watch it. It's so odd. This is Enemy. So last month I posted an Arrow video haul because it was the 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble. I said I was done, but then somebody mentioned that one of the items I picked up was actually a sequel to another movie that I didn't own, so I had to go pick up Beyond the Door. So now I have the original and the sequel in the collection, even though I probably could have watched the sequel without having seen this one because it's a very loose sequel, but I still wanted it for what it was, and of course it was 50% off, so I figured it would be the perfect time to buy it. So this was the last of my Arrow video sale pickups from last month. This is Beyond the Door. And the last of the Blu-rays is a new release that I told you guys I already had pre-ordered when I talked about it in my anticipated releases video, Ghost Watch. I completely missed the original release of this, which was technically like the special edition release or whatever, but this one has that same full-length documentary on it, so I wanted to grab this for sure. This one was new last month in this release format or style, I guess, the non-special edition release, and so yeah, I was very happy that I was able to have a second chance at grabbing this one. Ghost Watch is basically like a fake documentary in the most haunted place in Britain, and so yeah, it was very controversial when it was released, but very excited to finally get to check this one out. Another one that I learned about thanks to a podcast, so it's just one of those days, I guess. But anyway, definitely excited to check out Ghost Watch. All right, moving over to the 4K pickups. This one is relatively new. Maybe not August, but maybe July. Either way, I picked it up in August. This is from MVD Rewind Collection. We have Swamp Thing on 4K. And what's really cool about this one is that you have the additional cut on here. So you have the PG rated theatrical version, plus the unrated international cut, which was also restored and remastered in 4K. And I've heard really great things about the restoration job on this, so I had to pick it up. And I was able to sell my Scream Factory Blu-ray release of it to recoup some of the funds. So it didn't cost me, and it didn't end up costing me too terribly much at the end of the day, which is always a good thing. So looking forward to checking this one out. This is Swamp Thing in 4K. Another brand new release, one that I really intended on reviewing, it didn't happen, unfortunately. This is The Blackening. So another one I talked about in my anticipated releases video, a horror comedy done in the slasher style that I cannot wait to check out. I need to see this one ASAP. I've heard really great things. So I had to grab it I just went with the slipcover version. There is the steelbook available as well, but I went cheap just because I was getting a lot of stuff last month. So this is The Blackening. So the last three today are all 4K steelbooks, and this one I wasn't going to pick up. I think it was on my honorable mentions, but I was getting FOMO. I didn't want to miss it. This is Hackers, and I did get the 4K steelbook. So this is another one. I actually ended up selling my Blu-ray from Shout Factory, and so I was able to recoup some of the costs, which is always a good thing. But yeah, very excited I was able to get this one. I think this one is now a little bit difficult to find already at Best Buy. So yeah, it is available on standard 4K if you want to get it, but the steelbook might be a little trickier to find. But either way, happy to have it in the collection. I love this movie. It's so like of its time, and I just love it. So this one here is the Hackers 4K steelbook. Next up is one of those Lionsgate 4K steelbooks. This one is Ender's Game. So this is one that honestly, when I bought this, I thought I didn't own on 4K at all. Turns out I did. I totally forgot I found it, but yeah, I had to pick it up anyway. Like a really fun steelbook, as I just showed, but just one more time. And there is the back of it as well. So yeah, really looking forward to checking this out. I have read the book and I liked the book quite a lot. I thought it was really well done. So excited to see if the movie holds up. So this one on 4K is Ender's Game. And last but not least, another one I talked about in my anticipated releases video, I did grab Infinity Pool 4K, and this is the uncut edition, which is really cool. So yeah, looking forward to checking this one out, simply because it has Maya Goth in it, who is absolutely fantastic, really like the best part of X and whatever, Ruby, right? No, Pearl? You know what I'm talking about. Pearl. But yeah, like, I really like her, so excited to check this out with Alexander Skarsgård in it as well. So, my last one that I picked up last month, brand new, was Infinity Pool Uncut on 4K. All right, so there it is, a big ol' stack of brand new releases, both new releases and just ones that I bought new, but always fun to go through these. So many cool discoveries yet to be made in this pile. Cannot wait to watch so many of these, but I'd love to hear from you guys down below. First off, what did you buy brand new last month? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And then second, what do you recommend from this stack I put at the top of the list? Is there anything in here you'd like to hear my thoughts on more in depth in a 4K review or a Blu-ray review? Let me know what you guys think. Any suggestions are always appreciated, so thank you so much for all those down in the comments. I really appreciate it. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. That engagement really does help me out. And like I always say, I don't just talk movies, I talk all things media. Books, movies, video games, graphic novels, manga. If it's media related, I'm interested in it. And if you are too, you might consider subscribing. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for today. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. And I want to encourage you to consume some media today. I'll catch you next time.